Hello, hello, hey, sweet people. Welcome to another episode of Inglês no Rádio. My name is Foster. This is our third time trying to begin this podcast. We have had some technical difficulties, but hopefully I am here with Alexia.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so just to explain a little bit, as most of you probably know, Alexia is currently in Portugal. I am currently in the US, so we are recording podcast remotely, which presents a series of technical challenges sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. And for example, right now, we are having trouble on my end, I think, because I can hear myself. So every time that I'm saying something, I can hear it double.
Well, that's good to double check your English.
So today the episode is completely about you, my love.
That's good. I like when I am the center of the universe.
Do you really?
So, this week on the show, we have been talking about quarantine, about our particular experience dealing with quarantine, separated as a couple. We've talked about some of the difficult things, but today we are not going to worry about the difficulties. We're not going to worry about the technical challenges. Today, we're staying positive, and we're talking about one of my new hobbies, which is riding bikes.
Yay!
Yay. So if you did not listen to the episode yesterday, we talked about the fact that my dad bought an electric bike, an e-bike, and I've started riding it a lot and I really enjoy it. So if you did not listen to the episode yesterday, I recommend that you start there. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
I am answering as everyone who's listening to us.
Yes. So today, Alexia, I just wanted to talk about why I love riding bikes so much now. Kind of about hobbies more generally and why we learn new things in life. Like, what's the point? And just talk about it a little bit with you. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Cool. So I wanted to begin with a very simple question, Alexia, but I don't think it has a very simple answer. But I wanted to hear your opinion about why do you think we start new hobbies? Like what's the point?
I think it's because we want to feel good about ourselves.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. And maybe you are curious about something and then you want to see, and if you want to try, you want to, I don't know, maybe challenge yourself as well.
Yeah, I think the challenge is a really important part. So that's perfect. So yesterday, Alexia, when I was riding my bike, technically my dad's e-bike, but I was riding a bike, and I had this memory of when I was in university and I was taking one of my first Spanish classes, and it was a class about Latin American poetry, essentially. So poetry in Latin America, but predominantly the countries that speak Spanish. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And my professor, one of my favorite people in the world, he started the class by saying, what is the point of poetry? Like, why are we reading old verses from people from different countries in Latin America? Like, what's the point? It's really difficult. It doesn't really like serve any direct benefit in our lives. And I was thinking, that's a good question. What is the point? Why are we doing this? And his answer is essentially that poetry is practice for life.
I would say it's also a cultural matter. So, I mean, you can study the countries and what is going on during that time when you
A
read
cultural
poetry.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely think there is a huge cultural aspect. But in almost every case, like, yeah, of course, learning Spanish poetry helps me improve my Spanish. It helps me learn about other countries and cultures. But if I really wanted to learn about the specific countries and cultures, I could study that directly. I could study Spanish directly, and that would be much more efficient. So, why are we doing this weird process of trying to deeply understand difficult poems? That was kind of his point. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, é uma questão muito filosófica, but yeah, I do understand his point.
Yeah. So he said that poetry is practice for life. So we read poetry about life, death, love, loss. And even if we haven't experienced these things personally or directly, it helps us kind of practice with processing those emotions and those challenges that everyone faces in life. And at the time, I understood it, but it did not like really connect with me. And yesterday, when I was riding my bike, I was thinking, what's the point of this? Like, why am I doing this? I'm not going to be a professional cyclist. I'm not particularly good at this. Yeah, it's like good exercise, but if I really wanted to improve my physical health, there are a lot more effective ways to do that.
But sometimes it's not about that. It's like you want to feel good doing that. And I mean, you don't have to do the most effective thing just to feel good about yourself and your body and your mind, you know?
Precisely. And
So,
that's kind of the point. So I was thinking, why am I doing this? I'm not going to be a competitive cyclist. I'm not going to be in an incredible shape. And I think the answer is it's just practice for life. Like when I'm by myself in nature and I see a really big hill and I'm thinking, oh God, I do not want to go up this hill. But I have to. And I have to do that challenge by myself. And at the end, when I get to the top of the hill, it feels really good.
yeah.
And that gives me confidence. It makes me feel better. And it makes me feel a little bit more prepared for situations that happen in quotations in real life.
Yeah. I mean, I think that what we have as hobbies independently?
Hmm.
Meu
Independently.
Deus, eu tô muito boa nisso. On what you're doing, like if you are reading more, if you're writing more, if you are exercising more, if you are doing whatever and whenever, it helps you a lot to deal with the real life accomplishments like work and personal matters and everything around you.
Yeah, absolutely. So another thing,
So, okay, just
go
one thing.
ahead.
For example, since Buddy came to our lives, I've been very bad with the plants because I mean, our life turned upside down.
Bad with the
And
plants.
yeah.
Yeah. So just to explain, Alexia, at the beginning of quarantine, you got a lot of new plants for our apartment. And now we also have Buddy, a puppy. So Buddy is kind of taking priority over the plants, right?
Yes. And then today I realized how much one of the plants needed my attention. And I was like, what's the point of having it if I don't have time for it? But why don't I have time? And I was like, of course I do. I just need to reorganize and take care of the plants because those plants are my hobby and they really need attention. And I need something as my hobby that needs my attention because if I if a hobby depends on me, it's different than I depending on a hobby, you know?
It's different than me depending on a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to think about that. I think that's really important. Um, yeah, I think that's very healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was kind of thinking about the idea of the way you're talking about how Buddy kind of gives you more clarity or more perspective about your relationship with plants and the hobby of taking care of plants. And that was another one of my kind of realizations with biking. If I have to spend, let's say, 2 hours in the woods, in nature, alone, just me and my bike, it gives me time to notice things. So one of the things I really like about biking is I cannot use headphones because it's dangerous and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going too fast and it doesn't work. And most of the day I am either talking to people on the computer or I am listening to podcasts or audiobooks. Most of the day I am connected and plugged in, and just having a couple hours of each day when I'm separated from all of that, it really helps put things in perspective.
Yeah.
So, just like you were saying, I think hobbies are a great way to create a little bit more balance and realize what's important in life.
And now you understand why I don't listen to podcasts, even music sometimes when I go into our co-working or somewhere, because I like to be connected with the outside. And if I am listening to music or even a podcast, I don't feel as connected as I should be.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I think there are plenty of different ways to connect this idea of learning new skills or developing new hobbies to learning a new language. So, a big one that immediately stands out to me is just putting things in perspective and thinking about why are you doing something. So, in my case, when I'm riding a bike, it gives me time to think. It makes my body feel better. It makes my mind feel better. And it helps me prepare for a lot of challenges in life. And I think learning a new language, it does all of those things as well. If you are making a lot of progress in a new language, perhaps you have a conversation with a native speaker, after you feel much better. You feel like you accomplished something, and that helps you accomplish more things in different parts of your life. So it's really just a positive cycle of feeling better and feeling more prepared for life.
Yeah, it's a good way to think because people do that in different ways. So, I mean, there are a lot of people that still struggle to talk to a native speaker, and I totally get it. But again, that's a way of understanding how you are as a student and what you need to be aware of, like what you need to improve. And I mean, if English is your hobby, you need to put some practice on it, because there are no hobbies that don't need practice. All of them, they need practice if you think about.
Exactly. And I think a very easy analogy or a very easy illustration and something important to remember is all skill acquisition. So, whenever you're learning a new hobby or cultivating a new skill or ability, it's not a straight line. Like you have ups and downs. And I feel this in a very real way on the bike because when I'm going up a very big hill, it's super hard. Sometimes I have to stop and just like sit on the bike and I feel I feel like a loser. Like, why can I not get up this hill? And then when I make it to the top and it's flat and I can go fast, I don't have to think about anything. The wind's blowing on my face. That's so similar to all of the experiences I've had with languages. Like when I'm trying to communicate and I can't, it's like I'm going up this hill and I have to get off the bike and it sucks and it's embarrassing. But then when everything starts working, I'm just riding, the wind's in my face, the sun is shining,
And
life
you're
is good.
feeling good. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum.
Exactly. So I think that is more than enough for today with metaphors and bikes. But I think it's a good thing to think about. Think about the personal skills and hobbies that you have in your life that are not related to English. And just think about that trajectory of you go up, it's really difficult. Then you start having fun. And then you have to go up again, and it's difficult. You don't think you can do it. And then it's fun, and you're happy, and you're confident.
So beautiful, amor.
Yeah, I don't know how well I explained that metaphor. It sounded better in my brain before I said it in real words.
It's perfect.
But I hope it helps.
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Cool. So tomorrow we will have one more day of Foster's hobbies, and then we will go back to normal stuff.
Okie dokie.
Okay. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.